Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dustin on Gaming, playing through Badler's donation deck league for competitive Modern League with his Mono Red Phoenix list that we previously played in two-man queues. This list is a little bit different than some of the traditional ones. We've got a couple Runaway Steamkins, which were some tech toward the beginning of things. We also have a couple Maximized Velocities and a Lightning Axe in the main deck as additional discard outlets for Phoenixes and Fiery Tempers. So, see how this goes with match number 1. Wish our opponent good luck. Mr. Big O. Also, I'm currently playing in the Modern Challenge with Boros Burns, so I do have to kind of keep an eye on that as well. Sounds fine. I mean, it's not exemplary, but it's fine. Turn 1, Soulscar. Turn 2, Swift Spear plus Bolt. Usually is pretty decent start against a lot of decks. It's like traditional affinity. Another land, not necessarily what we wanted here. Extra sideboard Shatterstorm is going to be pretty nice in this matchup. I wish people would play faster. Like, there's nothing for you to consider here other than maybe Gal blasting Soulscar Mage. Probably double queuing in the Modern Challenge. Yep, I guess this is just Gal Blast my guy, sure. Took a long time to figure that one out. Kill that one. Experimental Frenzy is an annoying card. So this is Experimental Affinity, which I'm not entirely sure what all they're playing. Ox Opal, sure. Get that Ornery Thopter off the table. Bolt Scourge, sure. It's the power of Experimental Frenzy. had way too pedestrian of a draw this game. Especially with them hitting an experimental frenzy. Guess we'll give it one more draw step, but we're pretty well dead here. I could bolt here and just pray they brick a little bit. Still 30 matches going on the Modern Challenge. Yep. Taking a lot of damage here. Opponent's getting a bunch of life. And that's a start. So 12. We're only getting through for 12 damage no matter what we do, so I think we just swing with the two big guys. If we'd drawn a bolt or something here, we could have gotten back into this, I think. Opponents are thinking a lot today. Maximize velocity being a key card that turn. Ironically, I think if they go no blocks that we're just dead. Because each one of these attacks for... Yeah, Overseer, sure. Let's not let our opponent think anymore. Cranial plating there is lethal. Alright, so Anger's Ardis, Shatterstorm, Abrades, Lightning Axe is okay. Blood Moon has some uses in the matchup, but it's not great. Surgical Extraction is kind of garbage. Should have like a Bedlam and an Arclight in case they have some type of graveyard hate to bring in. Yeah, like they have Rest in Pieces and stuff. So I'm supposed to shave like a Bedlam. So, Badler, one thing I could think of to have a sidestep plan, possibly, and I guess, never mind, I guess Experimental Frenzy wouldn't work with what goes on with some of the other stuff. I was thinking it would work well, but Manamorphosis and Faithless Lootings wouldn't play well with it. It's possible I should have just gut shot this stupid Signal Pest. Definitely looking for some Phoenixes here. Keeping their board clear is about the best thing we can do this turn. Still looking for some Phoenixes. I know we did board a couple of them, or one of them out, so we're less likely to hit them. Alright, not terrible. Opponent has one card. Looks like they're going to go on the Ink Moth strategy. Alright, so brought in Dispatch, huh? No. Card am I getting rid of here? Definitely need to draw some spells from here, though. Hopefully they don't have cranial plating to go with that. Of course they do. And we need to draw land badly. So if we'd drawn a land there, I think we would have had a chance. Gal Blast finish it off. Yep. Sorry, Badler. That was a rough way to lose there. Match number 1. Game 1, Experimental Frenzy carried the way. Game 2, we got stuck on lands, and they had S Champion into stuff. So it happens sometimes, unfortunately, in Modern. So this has been Dust for Dust on Gaming with match number 1 with Badler's Mono Red Phoenix list here in a competitive league. Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dust on Gaming with Badler's second match with Mono Red Phoenix in a competitive Modern league. First round, we played against Experimental Affinity, and it was a monster mash. It caught on in a flash. No, game 1, they landed an Experimental Frenzy and kind of went crazy. Game number 2, we landed a couple of our prowess threats and kind of rode those to victory. And then game number 3, they landed an early S Champion, and we were kind of low on lands, so couldn't turn back around and race. And then the next turn thereafter, they landed one of the copies of Cranial Plating, and Cranial Plating plus S Champion and a bunch of artifacts means you can't interact with it outside of our 1-of Shatterstorm. So, and we never drew our second land in that game, so unfortunately we just kind of fizzled. Hand's pretty decent, especially being on the play. Swizzle Spear. Sorry, I was just doing some quick math if playing Steamkin was worth it here, or I think Steamkin gives us the most explosive next turn if our opponent just goes for like play some random nonsense go. We had a land next turn off of this Faithless Looting. See, that's the kind of interesting problem we've got to face against here. Tarmogoyf. I have no idea what's going on now. That usually indicates that our opponent's on some style of sorcery and sorcery, giving up some power here. Awkward. Let's do the Phoenix thing. Let's do the Fiery Temper thing. So Surgical could get rid of the land, but then put a whatchamacallit in the graveyard anyway. Curious what's going on over there. It's got a Seismic Assault combination thing going on here. with Blood Moons? Interesting. Man, we are playing against some random jank with this. Everything going on. So Blood Moon won't be very effective against their particular style of strategy. Countryside Crushers and stuff. So Seismic Assault plus Gun Down, a good bit of our board would kind of suck here. I think they had at least 2 lands in hand. Two, three. Alright, it's got there against green, red, assault. They had some weird combinations of cards. We have no way to actually get the enchantments off the board anyway. So probably should have taken a picture to see if they had Life from the Loam in that mess. We probably want Lightning Axis to deal with Countryside Crushers. That's not terrible. Chandra's probably not terrible. Get rid of that. Get rid of an Arclight. Blood Moon doesn't do a ton against them. And maybe Shave a Gut Shot. Pretty sure we keep his hand. I mean, we have one more land than generally I want, but with Faithless Looting, it's not terrible. We get to look at draw step 2, 3, 4, 5 more cards next turn. Okay, they do in fact have Life from the Loam, so the third surgical will be coming in if there is a third game. chrome engine going here. Forgot to. I'm guessing this is seismic assault. Yep. Let's go to combat first. Play that puppy out. Pass turn. Yep. Alright, so basically you're dead. Cool. Alright, so starting out 1-1 with Badler's Mono Red Phoenix list here in competitive Modern League. We'll be back here in a bit with match number 3. Hey everybody, this is us for Stood On Gaming with doing at least match number 3 with Badler's Mono Red Phoenix list here in a Modern Competitive League. It's a donation deck. It'll be fused with our other files, so it'll be one all playlist. So yes, I am wearing a different top than the first couple of videos. I did this recording a couple of days later. Got a little burned out after the Modern Challenge on Saturday. So I think we keep this hand. It's a little on the rough side, but definitely a reasonable aggression hand here. Go Swift Spear into Soul Scarp plus maximize velocity. And Fiery Temper plus maximize velocity on the back end. So, just a friendly reminder, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, leaving a constructive comment down below. Special thanks to Badler for donating to see his deck played here. Hopefully our opponent gets this rolling here pretty soon. But turn 1 Swift Spear, turn 2 Soul Scar Mage plus maximize velocity. Kind of what our game plan is here, depending on obviously what our opponent throws at us here. Soul Scar Mage. You have a bolt or something? It looks like I do. It's unfortunate. Especially if this is regular Phoenix, this is going to make it a little more difficult to punch through here. No, just a Pyromancer's Ascension, quote unquote. This Screwed up there. Should have pitched the Fire Temper. Doming the opponent there would have been nice. I just automatically see fourth land. I'm like, oh, I need to pitch that. No, I really needed to pitch Fire Temper there. So Ascension's going to be slightly annoying. Double Faith. I guess they don't technically get double Faithless Looting here. Probably get some Phoenixes though. Drop our opponent to 5. These Pyromancer's Ascension starts going off, it starts getting extremely obnoxious. Especially with Manamorphose, this means they're starting to net mana and cards. Quite gross. Yep, only one spell there. We're a little behind the 8 ball, so that Fire Temper Guffaw kind of cost us a little bit here. See how many Phoenixes they dump into the yard. And they're there's still an outside shot if they don't find another Boulder of Phoenix that we could still rip something to kill them, but when you're going through that many cards in your deck, it's kind of hard to believe they won't find another Phoenix. Alright, so Pyromancer's Ascension for the win there. A little bit of fumbling around on my part. Definitely want the additional surgicals. Definitely want Lightning Axe and Rending Volley. Do I want Hazaret or Chandra? A couple gut shots since it's not quite as good as surgical in this matchup. Could potentially bring in Anger, but Anger only really answers. Yeah, I think we keep his hand. It's got one more mountain than I want to see, but 3 land, Faithless Looting, plus Surgical Extraction. Kind of hard to argue with that. Not going to looting quite yet. We have nothing we really want to discard right now. Could Bolt and Surgical, but I'm going to hold Surgical for their Phoenixes if they dump them. Plus, with these two particular things, we can potentially grow this out of Lightning Bolt range. Plus, I think this indicates they're probably low on lands. Or just didn't have a red source. Once again, we could have potentially surgical thing in the ice there, but I don't think it's worth it. Especially if they try to dump Phoenixes this turn. Alright, or they can just concede. Sure. Gutshots no, Braids no, Blood Moon no, Anger only really gets their Phoenixes. Hazaret, eh. And granted, Hazaret is hard for them to kill. But I still don't think it's worth it in this matchup. It's one of those hands that if we draw a lot of lands could get really good. This is where I wonder, Badler, if you don't want an 18th land in this deck, especially when playing Magic Online. Just because these one landing hands can be so brutal even with Faithless Looting. So what is our play next turn? Just Swift Spear and pray? If we don't draw land? If we draw land, we do have an interesting choice. Opponent's either tanking or double queuing. I'm not really sure which. Either way, it's just like, could you make your play and move on? Come on, friend. Sorry, this is one of the nice things about Arena is it really discourages people from double queuing and such, or whatever our opponent happens to be doing. Looks like they're on the Phoenix play in this game, which is fine by me, I guess. Sure. Fortunately, they do get to beacon bolt us away. So we took match number 3 from, is it Arclight Phoenix? This has been Dust for the Stone Gaming. We'll be back here in a bit with match number 4. Hey everybody, this is Dust for the Stone Gaming with match number 4 with Badler's Mono Red Phoenix list in competitive league here. Playing a little bit different list. This list features things like maximized velocity, a couple copies of Runaway Steamkin, main deck Blood Moon, but otherwise it's pretty similar to your normal Mono Red Phoenix list. You know, Arclight Phoenixes, Bedlam Reveler, Soulscar Mages, Monastery Swift Spears. Certainly a list that some of the Burn players should be looking at considering investing in if Burn continues to perform poorly on multiple axes because of how the current format's shaped out. If London Mulligan rule goes into effect, could be London bridges falling down for Burn a little bit. Not saying Burn's unplayable, I'm just saying it won't be quite as good in a format, mostly based around fast combo and Tron that can more consistently hit. I guess we keep this hand. A little bit, like, not great, obviously. I know. Very good enunciation there, because we can go gut shot and light up the stage, potentially. So, see what happens. Shocked very quickly. What you got there, friend? Oh, they disconnected. That's what they've got. So it looks like another, potentially, is it Phoenix list? Serum Visions. Next time, if we don't draw anything relevant, I think I'm gonna go, yeah, that kind of makes it easier. Gut shot, light up the stage. I'll just pass here. And play both the spells next turn anyway. Good chance our opponent has a thing in the ice here, sure. That thing in the ice out of the way, although we did have to count a 2-for-1 ourselves to do it. Ascension is annoying here. Pass turn. Suddenly regretting not surgicaling that when we had the chance. Do I allow this thing in the ice to flip? Should have discarded the Fire Temper again. Guess this theoretically allows them to cast Crackling Drake here. These Pyromancer's Ascension builds are so rough to combat. Jeez. So stupid. Alright, so Lightning Axe, Surgical Extraction, Running Volley, Chandra, look at shots. A Blood Moon. One Arclight Phoenix. So there's probably some combination of way we could have won that game despite the hand we kept and really not seeing any creatures. Opponent's Graveyard, Hate of Surgical, not quite as good against this build, I don't think. But we keep hunting with the Scouring Flattery Tempers with our looting effects. One, two, three, four, five, six. Arclight Phoenix, Flame Slash, Lightning Axe. Lightning Axe, kill our creatures. So they're taking out our Arclight Phoenixes and such. Dispel, Flame Slash, Lightning Bolt. Nothing too goofy here other than the Braids, which in the end don't really do much. Another Manamorphose. It's possible I should just be having Hazard in these games, because other than Thing in the Ice, doesn't seem like they have a way of dealing with it. Chandra dies. At this point, because of the absurd Pyromancer's Ascension engine, we're pretty close to losing, so I'm just going to shut off the microphone since the dogs won't shut up. So we died a bolt out, so Pyromancer's Ascension's getting online, pretty brutal for the deck. It's possible I should be bringing in Hazoret in this matchup. So, apologize Badler if I should bring in Hazoret here and whatever plans I can make here to make things go a little bit better, but we'll be back in a bit with match number 5, hopefully, while kind of playing for it all in match number 5. Hey everybody, this is Us vs. Dawn Gaming with match number 5 with Badler's Mono Red Phoenix list here in the competitive league, kind of for all the marbles here. Going to be playing match number 5 under do or die circumstances pretty much. Because we're 2-2 currently in the league. So far we've played against Is It Phoenix twice, some type of seismic assault. Yeah, sounds fun. Type of seismic assault combo, countryside crusher combo deck. So Death Shadow perhaps. Of course you have the Fatal Push, why wouldn't you, right? Ew. Mill. So our opponent's got crabs. See if there's anything weird going on here. Just some copies of Crypt Incursion and make Scribe do. Whole lot of things that are not the cards that we were looking for. Faithless Looting, Arclight Phoenix for some birds. That was awkward. Should have played land so we could just flash back Fire Temper there. They draw. Sure. So, one copy of Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard currently. We're putting it to 4. Alright, so they get to draw a bunch of cards here. Do they hit a Crypt Incursion or a bridge? So, alright. So we got there against Mill. Blood Moon's okay against them. A little bit slow. I do have some creatures, but I don't think Lightning Axe is necessarily one where we want to be. So, Mind Funeral. Against Rambo. Extirpates, Fatal Pushes. So definitely want the Abrades. Chandra could be reasonable potentially. Cut that, cut that. Surgical. Surgical is potentially reasonable against them. Draw Shape of Blood Moon. Shape of Fiery Temper. Shape of Gut Shot. Try it like that. So it's a pretty easy mulligan. crabs. Surgical extraction? Yep. I say there had to be a reason you'd keep a one land hand, right? So bolt you, light you up. Draw land. Fortunately you did. So Faithless Looting go bye-bye. Blood Moon you. And before they draw another land, sure. You need Swamp plus Crypt Incursion. Right now there's only this Collective Brutality. Feels like Collective Brutality. I have a maximized velocity down there. I do. Target this, discard that. Madness this. Target your face. think I've ever, well, don't know if ever is the right word, but I don't think I've ever been happier for a 3-2 in my life, especially after the last couple weeks of what's been going on with modern challenges. Wow, just wow. Anyways, I'll be back in a bit with a deck tech. This has been Dust for Dustin on Gaming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hey everybody, this is us for Dustin on Gaming with deck tech for Badler's donation list here. Mono Red Phoenix. We ended up finishing the League 3-2 in a competitive modern league, with his slight changes to the deck list from the one we played in the 2-man queues. As a friendly reminder, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, leaving a constructive comment down below. And if you'd like to see your deck played on the channel, either Modern, Standard, or Legacy, or even Pauper if you really want that, I have 3 different options. You can do 2-man queues. I'll play your deck in 3 2-man queues for $5. If your deck wins, I'll continue playing it up till 6 matches. You can do the friendly, modern, friendly league, whatever, which is $8, or you can do the competitive league for $12. Anyways, let's get into the deck tech, and special thanks to Badler for his donation and his deck list. So, Mono Red Phoenix with a couple differences, couple Runaway Steamkins here, couple copies of Maximized Velocity, and then Fiery Temper, which to me, Lava Spike's always been kind of a nombo in the deck. Like, you wanted another bolt effect, but it was really hard to trigger Fiery Temper in some of the older builds that only had like Faithless Looting, or maybe like 1 copy of Maximized Velocity, or 1 or 2 copies of Lightning Axe. I think this deck does a pretty good job of mitigating that with 2 copies of Lightning Axe between the main and the sideboard, 2 copies of Maximized Velocity, 4 copies of Faithless Looting, and several copies of Bedlam Reveler, which we've learned is pretty trivial to get to a very large 2 mana cost in this deck. Beyond that, you've got your usual Soulscar Mage, Monastery Swiftspear package to get out to an aggressive start, and then Arclight Phoenix and Bedlam River to kind of close out the game in the mid-range things. Your random one-ofs in the deck are 1 Surgical Extraction, 1 Blood Moon in the main. Those both serve various purposes in the format. Obviously, Surgical is pretty good against Dredge and the Arclight Phoenix Mirror. Blood Moon's pretty good against various decks that are trying various things in the format. Anything that's basically not mono red can get hit by it at random points. We even hit a blue-black mill deck, kind of locked them out of the game to a certain degree. Able to close out the game with our Bedlam Revelers and some other stuff. Beyond that, got some bolts and some gut shots to facilitate casting multiple spells on a turn, as well as damaging your opponent for layup the stage. Metamorphose, kind of the glue that holds the deck together. Allows you to cast multiple spells on a turn, get Runaway Steamkins absurdly large fairly quickly, bring back your Arclight Phoenixes, get your Bedlam Revelers into the graveyard. That's pretty much the main deck. 17 lands, mono red aggressive deck that's trying to land Arclight Phoenixes, Bedlam Revelers, or your Prowess creatures. Sideboard, Surgical Extractions for the various graveyard decks, things like Dredge, the Arclight Phoenix Mirror, etc. Lightning Axe and Running Volley when you need additional creature removal. Running Volley is pretty good against the tribal decks, as well as the Is It Phoenix deck. Lightning Axe is pretty good against anything with big creatures, you know, Death Shadow, Gurmag, or Tarmogoyf, etc. Braids are here when you need a Shatter, Lightning Strike effect, so pretty good against anything with Ensnaring Bridges, any of the Hardened Scales decks, the War Prison deck. 2 copies of Blood Moon when you need to kind of cheese your opponent out a little bit. Maybe it's a control deck that you're struggling with, 3-color, 2-color control deck, mid-range deck. Generally speaking, you bring Blood Moon against anything that's trying to play fair. You can also sometimes cheese random combo decks like Ad Nauseam and such. Anger of the Gods when you're up against the various creature decks. Hazoret and Chandra are kind of your bypass graveyard hate when you're boarding out some copies of either Bedlam Reveler or Arclight Phoenix. Shatterstorm, pretty good against the War Prison decks in particular. And then 2 copies of Dragon's Claw for the burn, mono red, Phoenix Mirrors, or Goblins, pretty much. Anyways, this is the wrap-up deck tech. We ended up going 3-2 in the competitive modern league, so pretty solid overall. Some minor scripts on my part with like not discarding Fiery Tempers when it should have been to Faithless Lootings and stuff. Maybe we could have turned things around in one of the other matches, but still, 3-2 is solid. And I want to thank Badler for his donation and his deck list. This has been Dust for Dustin on Gaming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.